For you know the way I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel. I'm going to feel. I hope Ozzy doesn't mind me using his track. I had to make a playlist for this. Man. So I've been through the Big Ten schedules. I've been through and researched every team. Now is as good a time as any for preseason predictions. Are you ready? Let's go. I will give a win-loss for every team and come up with a conference championship game and a championship champion of the Big Ten this season in this video. So here we go. Stay tuned. There are 18 teams in the Big Ten, so here we go. Indiana is starting over under Kirk Cignetti. It will take a little bit of time for them. I expect them to go 2-10 this season, 0-9 in the Big Ten. Wins versus FIU and Western Illinois for sure, but I don't think the Big Ten has gotten a lot better now, and Indiana is not in the Big Ten East anymore, but they still have to play a lot of great teams. All right, Purdue. Purdue is in year 2 of Ryan Walters, right? After a 4-8 year last season, the schedule, like I said, is harder now. Are they still giant killers? I don't think so. I think they go 2-10 as well in this Big Ten. 1-8 in conference. I think they beat Indiana on the road at Indiana. And they beat Indiana State. So 2 wins in state for Purdue. Congratulations. We need Notre Dame for the state of Indiana to improve in the Big Ten. All right. UCLA. Purdue, I think, could win at Illinois, and Northwestern are beatable as well. And it could sway their record to 4-8 yet again this season. That's kind of where they are right now, in my opinion. All right, UCLA is starting over too with Deshaun Foster as head coach after Chip Kelly went to Ohio State. I think UCLA goes 3-9 this season, 1-8 in the Big Ten. They'll win at Hawaii, I hope. They'll beat Indiana at home. And they'll beat Fresno State at the end of the year. Will they? Minnesota could be a win at home as well, but I think 3-9 for me. The wins versus Hawaii, Indiana, and Fresno State is what UCLA is going to get. All right. These are official predictions here. Maryland. Maryland is in year 6 with Mike Locksley. He has a 15-32 record in the Big Ten Conference, and that's not good. Plus, he lost Talia Tagovailoa at quarterback. Who's going to be better than him? I don't know about that. I think they go 4-8, 2-7 in the Big Ten. Wins versus Connecticut, Villanova, at Indiana, and Northwestern. I think Michigan State and Virginia and USC at home and Rutgers at home are all winnable for them, but can they? Can they do it? I don't think so. 4-8. Then Minnesota is next in year 8 now with PJ Fleck. He is 29-32 in the Big Ten so far after 7 years. 5-7. Another bowl miss for the Big Ten. 2-7 in conference though. It's not because they didn't win their out-of-conference games. It's because they couldn't win in the Big Ten. Wins versus UNC, I think. Rhode Island and Nevada. And I think they go on the road and beat UCLA, as aforementioned. Maryland, I think, is a win at home as well. Can they beat USC at home or Rutgers at home to make a bowl? That is what they will need this season. I don't think so. 5-7. And then Northwestern. Northwestern is in year one under David Braun and went 8-5 in his first season, taking over for Pat Fitzgerald after the. Won't even go into it, but I think they return back to 5-7 this season, 2-7 in conference. They'll beat Miami of Ohio. They'll beat Duke at home, I think. Eastern Illinois at home. Indiana at home. And then at Purdue, I think is a win for you. At Maryland and Illinois could get them bowling as well. So, but I don't think they win either one of those. 5-7. So Rutgers. Well, before I get to Rutgers, because I think they go bowling. The rest of the Big Ten goes bowling, in my opinion. 12 of 18 teams, which might seem low, but I think we're going to be very top-heavy in this conference this season. In fact, the schedules are such that 4 or 5 Big Ten teams can make the 12-team college football playoff. 4 or 5. And, that would be like one automatic qualifier who won the conference, and then 4 at-large teams. I think it's possible. That, of course, depends on other conferences, what they do, and what Notre Dame does as well. And, of course, there's a G5 team that is going to get in. So, but let's move on. Rutgers, 6-6, I think, is what they're going to go. 4-5 in conference. They'll be Howard. They'll be Akron. They'll be UCLA, Minnesota. They'll win at Maryland, I think, and Illinois at home. Washington at home and at Michigan State are winnable games as well for Rutgers. So don't be surprised they could go 8-4 this season. But I'm going 6-6. And Michigan State is next, 6-6 as well, 4-5 in conference, just the same. Even though I think Michigan State beats Rutgers, man, FAU at Maryland, Prairie View A&M, Indiana at home, Purdue at home, and then Rutgers at home. At Boston College and at Illinois are winnable for Michigan State, but can they do that in year one under their new head coach? So then Illinois, Brett Bielema, here we go. I think they go 7-5 this season. 4-5 in conference. They'll beat Eastern Illinois. I think they get that monumental win against Kansas at home. And I don't know why. I feel like the structure, the ground and pound, they're polar opposites, and what do they say? Mismatches makes fights. I think Illinois can win that game, and then Central Michigan is a win. Purdue at home, win. Minnesota at home is a win. Michigan State at home, I think Illinois wins, and then at Northwestern, I think they win. A win at Rutgers would make an 8-game schedule for them. Wins for them, but 7-5 is what I have for Illinois. All right, Washington. They're gonna be 7-5 as well, 4-5. I think they beat Weber State. I think they beat Eastern Michigan. Washington State at home be a tricky one, but rival. But I think they win that game. Northwestern at home, I think they win. At Rutgers, they win. At Indiana, at Rutgers is not easy. I think, I said that right there, but at Indiana, I think you win. UCLA, I think you win. And I think a loss to Rutgers is possible. So maybe 6-6, but I got 7-5 for Washington this season. Now, Wisconsin, I think they go 7-5 as well. 5-4 though in conference. So winning record here for the first time in conference for any of these teams. Western Michigan is a win at home. South Dakota is a win at home. Purdue at home. At Rutgers, at Northwestern, Oregon at home, and Minnesota at home. Nebraska at home is also interesting, but I have them losing that game, so 7-5, and then Nebraska is next. 9-3. We're getting better. We're moving up here, getting better teams here. 9-3, 6-3 in the conference is what I have for Nebraska. I think they lose. Now we're not talking about wins anymore. We're talking about who teams lost to. I think they lose to Ohio State. I think they lose to USC, and I think they lose to Iowa at home. They could lose to Wisconsin, like I said, but 9-3 is what I got for Nebraska. In year 2 or 3 under Matt Rule, year 2. And he always steps up in year 2. So USC is next. 9-3. And that may surprise a lot of people. And I know not many people watched my USC national title contender video. But they have talent. They have offensive talent. They do have a better defense than they have had. I think they go 8-1 because their schedule in the Big Ten is pretty easy. Losses are out of conference for them. So I think they lose at versus LSU in a neutral site field. I think they lose at Michigan. And then I think they lose to Notre Dame at home. I think they also could lose to Penn State, Wisconsin, and at Minnesota too. But I just think I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt there. 9-3 is what I have for USC. Now, the big boys. Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon are in a trifecta. The fact that these 3 teams play each other is very interesting in this conference. USC can throw a wrench into all of the Big Ten family. We'll see. Will they, though? Like I said, I don't think so. They're just on the outside. But they have that 8-1 record in conference. So they could throw a wrench in it all. All right. Iowa. I think we'll go 10-2, 7-2 in conference. Losses at Ohio State and at Michigan State. Could they win at Michigan State? Yes, of course, which would put them out of a bowl game in my prediction, which would be just fine with me. But they could also lose to one of several other teams at Minnesota. Washington's at home. Wisconsin's at home. At Maryland, and then Nebraska is at home. All could be potential losses, but 10-2 is where I'm going with Iowa right here, right now. It's my official prediction. Penn State 10-2, 7-2. Losses at USC and then Ohio State at home. They could beat both of these teams, but they could. I think we lost our music, but that's all right. They could take an L at West Virginia, at Wisconsin, or at Minnesota as well. I think I'm doing them a little bit of favor with 10-2 record here. Now, Oregon. Now we got into the top 3 here. Oregon's going to go 10-2, 7-2. Losses at Michigan and then at Wisconsin. Oregon will find out the Big Ten isn't as easy as they might think it is, but are still playoff bound, of course, because of the win that they will have over Ohio State, which, keep in mind USC is 9-3, 8-1 conference. But if they beat Ohio State, that leaves the Buckeyes and the Wolverines to keep Oregon out of the Big Ten championship game. Will they? Can they? Michigan is going to go 11-1. 8-1 in conference. So there is one team over Oregon because they have the head-to-head, but also because they have wins versus Texas in the non-conference. Even if, well, I'll get to that. But anyway, Michigan is going to go 11-1, 8-1. Now, I hate to say it, our loss is going to be on the road at Ohio State in the game. But don't hang up. Don't hang up and don't click off because I am not done yet. There still is a conference championship game to be played. All right. But Ohio State is, Ryan Day has his back against the wall. He's ready for the firing squad. He has to fight back. That's all he can do. They do have talent. They have a great team. Chip Kelly coming in is a blessing for them and for Ryan Day. If this game was on a neutral site, like it could be here in the Big Ten title game coming up, I picked Michigan to win. But it's on the road in Columbus. They need it. They want it. And like I said, Michigan, we don't even know who the quarterback is in the preseason. We will by the time this game is played, but I can't waffle in that aspect because we're talking preseason. So what am I think is going to happen? I think Orgy's going to be Michigan's quarterback. I think Ryan Day and the coaching staff and Jim Knowles in his third or fourth year now at defense, and they have a better defense now. They will win in Columbus. Sorry. But keep in mind, since Michigan beat USC and Oregon, they are in the conference championship game at 11-1, and it will be versus Ohio State in a rematch because Ohio State's only loss is going to be to Oregon. But since Oregon has 2 conference losses, LSU is in. And since USC lost to Michigan, like I said, they're out. So conference championship game is going to look like this. 11-1 Ohio State versus 11-1 Michigan in a rematch for all the marbles in the neutral site this time. It's going to be hard to beat the same team twice, right? Which is why I believe Michigan wins the Big Ten again for the first time in a row in a neutral site game. Ask Iowa how that turns out. So it's hard for me to say Michigan will go undefeated again without knowing who the quarterback's going to be. But I do love the rest of this team enough to win the Big Ten title again. Even a loss to Texas early won't matter because it's a non-conference, out of conference would be lost. So we'd still be 8-1. We'd still have them wins. That's what I got. And then stay tuned. Come on, stay tuned for the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. I have already done a preview kind of on the group of 5 teams that I think could be the representative. We're getting closer and closer to a 12-team playoff prediction, and then I'll make that bracket, and I will fill it out for you preseason. Pick my Elite 8, Frozen Final Four, and then champion. So stay tuned for all of that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I crazy? That's how I think it's going to go. I think really 5 Big Ten teams could get into this playoff because they don't play one another enough. 3 of the top teams do, and I think all three of them teams will be in the playoffs. So there you go. Thank you, everybody. Remember, like the video, share with others, subscribe to me. Watch other videos that I have produced. I'm not the greatest producer, but they're still relevant, some of them today. And remember to have a great day out there, though. Could be worse. Indiana fan, Purdue fan, let me know. I'm sorry. Let me know. I just reconnected with Michael Hogg yesterday, and he seemed excited about it. I'm telling him, you're going to go 2-10. So just whatever you have to say in the comments, let's go. But I got to say, before I leave, welcome, hunters, and go blue.